What's going on, people? My name is Steve Valentino. First of all, let me say thank you so much for coming to the channel and having a little glance at what's going on over here. This is going to be a little series that I'm going to start. I'm going to be releasing once a week. I'm going to be releasing a poem of mine. I've been writing poetry since, I first started writing poetry when I was 11, 12. And when I say poetry, I might actually mean writing bars, because I was going to be a rapper. I was going through my little rapper phase, and I was calling myself. I say I was going through my phase. It was about 4 people that knew. It wasn't exactly something I was really doing public. Luckily enough, we didn't have all the social media that kids have nowadays. Otherwise, there might be some horrifically embarrassing videos of me knocking about. Calling myself Razor. That was R-A-Y-Z-A, because obviously rappers can't spell, and it's much cooler when you spell your name wrong. Tagging my name everywhere I could, scratching it into things, just teenage kid stuff. But I did it. It gave me something. It started as, it was something I genuinely believed and wanted to do, and I'm grateful for it, because being a teenager is difficult. It's hard to, it's difficult. You're trying to find your place in the world. You're trying to find your voice. You're trying to find who you are, trying to make sense of things. And there's a lot of angst, there's a lot of confusion. And it did genuinely give me a release. It gave me somewhere to put all this anger and this pain that was knocking about inside. And it gave me somewhere to put it. And I'm really grateful for that. And the dream of being a rapper slowly sort of died off. Razor. Rest in peace, Razor. Razor was put to bed at a later date. But poetry was always something I was still keen on. It was always even the artists that I loved and inspired me. It was always the lyricism. It was the way the words were played with and twisted and turned just to make a rhyme fit, or to bring this beautiful imagery that was just being presented and created by them for you in your imagination, just through words alone. And that's made me. That's something I've always enjoyed, I've always valued, and it was something that I then came back to as I got older. I've always been a bit of an attention seeker. I've always been doing, bits and pieces on stages and with acting, at least trying to, and maybe sometimes just trying to act as if I can, fit in somewhere. But I always wanted, there was always something in me, and I wanted to get it out. And I started to write again. I was living in London, and London, anyone who's lived there probably knows this. Maybe if you grew up there, it's different, but certainly for me, it was one of the busiest, biggest, craziest, most scary places I've ever lived. And I'm from Birmingham, so it's not exactly like I'm not used to a big city, but in terms of the loneliness that I felt while I was there, I've never felt anything like it. To be surrounded by people and to feel completely disconnected from the millions of people that I was interacting with constantly, just seeing on the tube or at work. And there was just something, I don't know, it was a tough time. It was a tough time, and that's when I started to write poetry again. And I started to pick it up and pick up the pen, and it was that same thing that it gave me when I was a teenager. It gave me something more now, because it gave me at least somewhere to put these feelings and these emotions, and I was very grateful for that. And then reading other people's poetry, it helps me. And with the internet the way it is now, obviously we can connect to the world. And so what this series is going to be, the way I'm going to do this, I've gone back, because I started to I started to share my poems with the world on this site called Poem Pigeon, and that's unfortunately defunct now, and that's no longer there. But they emailed me a while ago with all of the poems, and I didn't even realise that I'd written that many. And I was I looked at them, and I was like, oh, okay, this is an interesting journey to go back on. So I'm going to go through in order from when I first released it, the first time I shared anything with the world. And I'm going to just read them and share them with you guys, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about them afterwards, because I'm sure that they're going to take me back to places that I'll remember, but it'll jog things and it'll bring me back to a certain point in time, and maybe I can share those thoughts with you. And hopefully, if anyone's thought about oh, I'd like to write, I'd like to do this, do it, man. And let's start a little back and forth with you guys. Please share anything with me. I'd love to hear your poetry as well. But without further ado, this is no goodbye. 6 years later, I'm still stuck in that replay, wishing you'd given me the chance to be face to face and actually say the words you were needing, instead of you being on your own bleeding. But 6 years on, and we're the ones still grieving. The guilt is heavy on my heart through all the rationality. Still can't believe that you didn't even think to mention me. Selfish, I know, but regardless, I was never half-hearted. Emo expressed for life, desperately departed. I wish I could have found the strength at the time to tell your bullies to fuck themselves and stood with you side by side, but I didn't. And every day I live with that. Wish I could be the me I am now and just travel back and protect you. Just protect you. And have you be here with me when we next do. Shit, I don't know. Fuck it, anything. I dream about you constantly, and I mean, shit, I mean that. Tears rolling down my cheeks. But when I look at life, I realise it ain't bleak. But that's a newfound mentality, one that losing someone so close to me provided. And now I see things clear. Every step I take on the path of my career, I ain't taking alone, because I step for you. Tim Reaper and Razor are breaking through. I will make the world look, make them stand up and see, because everything I do for you and me. So there's a few more that will be a bit more on this topic, so I'm probably not going to go too heavy into it now, but unfortunately my best friend killed himself when I was 18. He was also wanted to be a rapper. He was Tim Reaper, you know, playing, his name was Tom, Tim Reaper, Grim Reaper. Razor, by the way, Razor was, because my sharp was tongue like a razor. Razors don't growl, I don't know why I did that. But yeah, so obviously, I mean, you can see where I was with that. I mean, that was on the 4th of June, 2014 that I published that. And yeah, it was a tough time. I mean, it was always difficult, and there's still times when it is difficult. But again, having that be the first thing that I stepped out with, I think it was clearly because whatever was going on, there was still a lot of feelings. Luckily I've grown stronger since then. I've faced a lot more things, and I've come to terms with a lot more, and I've learned to understand and accept a lot more. But at the time, there was still a lot of pain in there. And you can hear that. Emo Express for life, because we were in a wrestling tag team, and that was our crew. That was what we were called, the Emo Express. And yeah, it takes me back. Actually, what I'm doing, I'm reading them once or twice before, but then I'm not. Then I'm just trying to let myself go into it when I read it for you guys. And yeah, man, that was. Let me know what you think, man. That was the first thing. That was the first one I've ever posted. Obviously, as you can hear, there's some rhymes, some things don't quite fit, some things are a little bit jumbled up together. But you know, I think for a first little attempt, that was it's not too embarrassing. But I'll tell you what I will do. I'll break out some of the old lyric books, and then I'll embarrass myself with that. But yeah, this is the first episode of what we call them? The Pirate and His Poems. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. The Pirate and His Poems. So thank you so much. Obviously, hit the like, the subscribe, and please do share. And thank you for coming on this journey with me. This is the first of many. So thank you very much.